Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Scott LaRonde, a professor of military science and battalion commander at Florida Southern College, Army ROTC. In 2005, I was in my first deployment in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was stationed in Kuwait, and I commanded an intelligence detachment there. And one of my duties was to routinely meet with several Kuwaiti officials and exchange information with them. I was invited one night to this one gentleman's house. He invited me over for dinner and had established quite an elaborate spread. And we had a wonderful dinner, spending time with his family. And I was talking with him through a translator. We used his translator, who was a Sudanese, and he was 6'9". Real nice gentleman, but he wasn't necessarily a fan of his boss. After dinner, the boss decided he wanted to recite some of his own poetry that he'd written to me. And so we sat down around the living room, and the Sudanese translator sat between us. And the Kuwaiti man started talking and reciting his poetry. And he was getting quite moved by his own poetry, his own words. You can see it in his face, and he was getting kind of very sad, and he was really getting a bit emotional about it. But I was having a hard time maintaining focus on him. I don't speak a lot of Arabic. Rather, in this case, I had to rely on the Sudanese translator, who was having a hard time keeping his composure because he kept laughing. And I couldn't figure out why the Sudanese man was laughing so hard, and the Kuwaiti man was evidently quite emotional about his poetry, and he was really getting excited about reciting his poetry to me. And I don't think he was realizing that he completely lost his translator. So when he finished, I was trying to be very respectful. I didn't mention about the translator, and the translator's just in tears. He's laughing so hard. But I thanked the man for reciting his poetry to me. I told him it was quite wonderful, and that I enjoyed hearing him talking about it, and that I saw the passion that he had for his poetry in his language and in how he presented it. The Sudanese man just kept laughing. And so after that interview was over, or that session was over, the Kuwaiti man excused himself, and I took the opportunity to ask the Sudanese man what was so funny. And his response was, his boss is notoriously inept in poetry, that his poetry makes no sense in either English or Arabic, that the only person who appreciates his poetry is himself. And in this particular case, the poem was so bad that the Sudanese man had a very hard time translating it with a straight face. And so I walked out of that experience very thankful I didn't speak Arabic. I hope I handled the situation well. It didn't cause an international incident, but I'm not sure how long the Sudanese man ended up working for, that Kuwaiti gentleman.